Hey everyone, welcome to my wedding Q&A. I have been so excited to make this video, finally able to make it. Thank you so much to everyone who submitted questions. Let's just get straight into it because I have been so excited to talk about this. Also, yet again, please ignore the shelves behind me. They're a mess, don't judge me. So for anyone who doesn't know, I recently got married. We got married on the 6th of October 2024 and we got married in Clontarf Castle in Dublin. So starting off, a few people were asking questions about how myself and my husband met and how long we've been together. So we met on Tinder. Very romantic, I know, but honestly the majority of couples I know either met on Tinder or some kind of online dating. When we first met, I think it was still kind of weird. People were raising an eyebrow, but now I think it's totally normal. But yes, we met 8 years ago. We've been together for 8 years. Another question was, did we always agree to get married or did one person have to be persuaded? I think there was a little bit of a cultural difference with marriage to begin with. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm Irish and my husband is Norwegian. So in Ireland, having, a traditional wedding is still very, very common. There's people who don't do it and that's totally fine. But in general, it's still very much a big thing in Ireland to get married. Whereas in Norway, it's quite the opposite. People tend to get married a lot later in life and they're generally much smaller affairs. And I guess it's just not seen as big of a deal as it is in Ireland. In Ireland, it's a huge deal. We talked about it for a while and I don't want to say I convinced him because that sounds horrible. But I guess just through talking about it together and stuff, Frederick understood how important it was to me. Once he kind of understood that, he actually really started to want to get married. He ended up being just as into it and just as for it as I was. So when did we decide to get married? We decided to get married, I would say we'd been together about 5 years. So it was in and around the pandemic. We were stuck at home a lot in our tiny one-bedroom apartment. We had a lot of time to discuss things and talk about our future, and we decided that we wanted to buy our own home, buy our own apartment, and also get married. And someone else asked, how did Frederick propose? So again, because we had discussed it a lot, it wasn't like a surprise that Frederick proposed. I don't like surprises and I felt like our future is something we could, plan and discuss together. But yes, we got engaged in August of 2021. We got engaged at the top of Killiney Hill. We were staying in Fitzpatrick's Castle for a few days. We were sitting on top of Killiney Hill looking out over the ocean, the coastline. We were sitting on the kind of edge of this cliff, just talking, chilling, and then when we stood up to leave, Frederick got down on one knee and asked me to marry him, and it was so lovely, so perfect. And someone else asked, did I always dream of my wedding? Yes, I did always imagine that I would have, a traditional enough, I guess, a wedding day, because I'm not exactly traditional. More than that, I always dreamed of a marriage. I would have always hoped and dreamed that I would meet someone that I could share my life with, build my life with, and always just wanted to have that special connection with someone. And so yes, dreamed of the wedding, but more so dreamed of the marriage. Okay, so that's the background on us. So let's get into the planning process. There was a lot of questions about this. I just want to start out by saying I am not an expert in planning. I can only give my advice. So someone asked, did I use a wedding planner? And the answer is no, I did not. I planned everything myself. And I think even Frederick would completely agree with this, that I planned probably about 95% of the wedding. I am an organizer. a perfectionist, in some ways a little bit of a control freak. So there are like both good traits and bad traits that I have. It was a lot. And it was only a small wedding. So I can't even imagine how people plan big weddings all by themselves. How did I begin planning? I'm just thinking back to how overwhelmed we both felt when we first started. So even though I planned most of it, Frederick was with me every step of the way. So he went to every single appointment, every single viewing. He was very involved and interested in the wedding. We started off by viewing venues, and I would definitely suggest to start there. Have a look around at the venues you're thinking of, start getting prices, because that's probably going to be, you know, the main deciding factor for most of us is price. And also to keep in mind, we had a very small wedding. We had 45 people at our wedding, which apparently in the wedding industry is like a minuscule wedding. It's not even a wedding. It's so small. I was so shocked because I thought like 45 people is quite a lot, but apparently not. And so we ran into the issue of a lot of venues wouldn't even take our wedding. They were like, no, minimum numbers are 80, 100. Before you start anything, decide on the in and around number of people you're thinking of having for your wedding. Decide in and around what your wedding budget is going to be, how much you can afford to spend on it, and then start going and viewing venues. And then when you find a venue that you like and it's a good price and they take your size wedding, then you can check with them what dates they have available. And again, some dates are cheaper than others, so that's all stuff to look at as well. Someone asked, when did we start planning and how long did the entire process take? We didn't start properly planning the wedding until January 2023. So we started planning in January 2023. That's when we went to view our venue that we ended up going with. And then we booked in with Clontarf Castle and sent our save the dates to everyone in January just to let them know this is the date of the wedding. Keep it free, basically. And then I would say I didn't start hardcore planning the wedding until July 2023. So that's when I started, you know, looking for my wedding dress, booking in all the other suppliers. A year and 8 months. I think a year and 8 months I was planning this wedding for. So yes, a long time. Someone asked, how did we find and book things like suppliers? We didn't really know anybody who had recently gotten married in our area that we could ask for recommendations for any of that stuff. I would honestly just go online and type it into Google, like, I don't know, photographers in Dublin. We knew of our venue because we had actually stayed there before for a little kind of getaway and knew it was a gorgeous hotel and gorgeous castle. But everything else I was just blindly searching online, looking at examples of their work, reading reviews. We went to a few wedding fairs as well. There's lots of wedding fairs that happen in Ireland, and you can go there and meet the suppliers and again see samples of their work and stuff like that. So that's mainly how I found all of our suppliers. Someone asked, what order did we do things in? So as I said, we started with our budget. From the budget, we got the venue. From the venue, we got the date. We sent save the dates to let all our guests know, so we knew we would have guests at the wedding. Then I booked our celebrant, the person who was going to actually marry us. Then I booked our photographer and videographer. Then I booked in my bridal appointments to go find my dress. And then I booked in all the kind of smaller things after that, like cake, flowers, invitations, music, all of those smaller things. Someone asked, how did we divide the tasks? Like I said, I'm not really a divide task type person. I enjoy organizing, but I'm also kind of a control freak and stuff like that. So I just like to be in charge of everything, and Frederick knows that, and he knows it's probably best to just leave me to it. The only thing I kind of left him in charge of was to organize his suits. I went to his first suit appointment with him just to like give my opinion and stuff, and then all of his subsequent suit appointments and fittings, he just did those with his best men. Yeah, as I said, we didn't really divide tasks, but we did do everything together. Every decision I would basically show him, this is what I've researched, this is what I've picked, are you happy with that, do you agree? And then 9 times out of 10 he'd go, yeah, that's nice, that's good. Someone else asked what was the hardest and the easiest parts of planning. Really difficult part of the planning process was just dealing with all the stuff and having to store all the stuff that you need to buy and prepare for the wedding. A lot of the decorations, then you've got things like wedding rings, suits, the wedding dress, all these different bits and pieces, and we had to just build what we named Wedding Mountain in our sitting room, and it just took up so much space for months and months and months. If you want to see the deconstruction of Wedding Mountain, you can check out my decluttering vlog. But yeah, there was just so much stuff, and we live in like a small enough apartment, so that was definitely a difficult part of the process, and we are definitely happy now to have our space back, have our sitting room back. Then the easiest process for me was, honestly, it was choosing the venue. It was a no-brainer for us. They were just amazing from the start. Clontarf Castle is just a gorgeous, beautiful venue. It's a historic castle in Clontarf in Dublin. It's been turned into a hotel. It is just fantastic inside, and they said no problem, they could accommodate our small wedding. They had a little small room downstairs underneath the castle that would accommodate our small wedding, and we were really lucky that such a big thing was actually so easy. Someone asked, was I stressed during the planning? Yes I was. There were definitely moments where I was just really overwhelmed by the whole process. I had no idea and had never realized before how much planning goes into a wedding. You just feel like you're constantly going to appointments, you constantly have to do things, send things to people, approve things, pay invoices. It's very overwhelming. That's why I think the earlier you start, the more you can kind of space everything out and it's a little bit less overwhelming. So someone asked what my favorite part of the planning process was, and it was definitely the food tasting. We had our food tasting, I think 6 weeks before our wedding. So at that point, most things were done and organized, and the food tasting just felt like, honestly, such a treat, such a romantic date night for us, and the food was amazing. I will talk about the food at our wedding in a little bit. Yeah, it was so lovely to be made feel so special at the castle, to just have all this amazing food and drinks brought out to you, and yeah, we had such a good time. It was so relaxing. So that was definitely my favorite part of the planning process. Someone asked, do I have any tips for planning a wedding? Apart from anything I've already said, definitely ask for help and delegate, because planning a wedding by yourself is almost a full-time job, and I already have other jobs and work full-time, so don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. And this is going to sound really cheesy, but my main tip is enjoy the process. I feel like, even though it was stressful and all of that, I feel like Frederick and I, we really enjoyed the process of planning our wedding. We tried to enjoy and savor each moment and experience because, right, it's exciting and it's fun. It's exciting to go pick out your wedding cake. It's really fun to go view venues and sample all this fancy food, right? It's fun, and you're never going to do it again in your life. Well, you know what I mean. Hopefully you won't do it again in your life. So enjoy this process. Enjoy this process that you are spending a lot of money on. Enjoy it and have fun. Okay, so now we're getting on to the big one, the dress. I have photos here on my computer that I'm going to look at as I talk, and I'll put them on screen for you guys to see. So firstly, people asked, what did my dress look like? For anyone who hasn't seen it yet, this is what my dress looked like on the day. It was an ivory strapless ball gown with that small detail on the top, and then the rest of the dress was completely plain except for buttons all the way down the back. And then I got a long cathedral length veil to go with it with pearl details on it. So someone asked, how was the selection process for the dress? I'm so relieved to say that it was actually really easy for me. And that is for the simple reason that I had a very set budget that I was sticking to with the wedding dress. And so that makes it easy. That eliminates almost all the dresses instantly. It's wonderful. I was very lucky that I found my wedding dress in the first shop that I went to, my first appointment. I organized a kind of wedding dress shopping day with my mother and sister. I booked for us to go to a bridal boutique in Dublin. I went to the bridal outlet. So I'd booked that for the morning, and then in the afternoon I had booked for us to go to a bridal charity shop. And they basically get all of the dresses from bridal boutiques, you know, the ones that people have tried on. They all get sent to Bernardo's, and then they sell them on and use that money for charity. I wanted the kind of proper bridal boutique experience, and then I also wanted to bargain hunt and see if I could find one in the charity shop. We started at the bridal boutique, and the first few dresses I tried on, I just wasn't feeling them. I had in my mind that I was going to go for a real lacy kind of dress. I had in my head that I wanted something like Kate Middleton's wedding dress, or I should say Princess Catherine as she is known now, but I definitely wanted a dress like that. And so I started trying on these kind of lacy dresses, and I started trying on white dresses. I don't know, I just wasn't feeling them. I don't feel like they suited me at all. They just weren't doing anything for me. Basically, the lady who was helping me during my bridal appointment, she actually pulled a dress and asked me to try it on, and I saw it was strapless, and the one thing I had said when I walked in was, I don't want strapless. I have kind of a large bust, so strapless usually does not work on me, and it keeps falling down and stuff like that. So I was adamant that I did not want strapless, but she was like, I know, please just try it on. Just try it on for me. And I was like, oh, okay. And the minute I put it on and came out, I was like, oh my God, I feel amazing. I loved the plainness of it, the simplicity of it. I think the ball gown style just really suited my body shape. I think you can see from my face in the photos, I was just so happy. I felt great, and definitely the ivory color suited my pale skin a lot more than the white ones. The white ones kind of washed me out. The ivory, I felt, really complimented me and kind of warmed my complexion up. And because the dress was actually a corset on top, it didn't fall down at all. It didn't move anywhere on the day, which was great. And yeah, then when she put the the big long veil on me, I was like, okay, I'm sold. I'm sold. So at that point, I knew that was my dress. And also this dress was the cheapest dress that I had tried on, and it was significantly under the budget that I had set myself as well. So it was just a win-win all round. It was a no-brainer. This was the dress. So after that, we did go to still the charity shop appointment that I had made. But of course, I mean, the appointment was kind of ruined now because I had my heart set on this dress now, but we still had a look. Unfortunately, they just didn't really have anything in my size. And so that's the thing with the charity shop. You kind of go and you're either lucky and find something. One of my friends actually found her wedding dress here. She was incredibly lucky. She looked gorgeous on her wedding day, but they just didn't have dresses in my size. All of the dresses that they had were either too small or like way too big for me. I did manage to squeeze myself into a couple of the dresses, and when I say squeeze, I mean squeeze. And again, I tried on some of the lacy ones. They were nice, but I just didn't feel like they were doing anything for me. Nothing fit here, nothing was catching my attention, and my heart was just set on the other one. So the following week we went back to the first shop and ordered that dress, and I'm so happy with it. No regrets. And after I ordered my dress, of course you get those thoughts of, oh god, I hope it was the right decision. Am I sure that I liked it and all this kind of thing? But the moment I got that call that my dress had come in and I went in and tried it on again, I just knew I had made the right decision. I was just so happy in this dress. I felt so confident, elegant. I felt like, it's so cliche, but I really did feel like a princess. And especially on the day, I felt like a princess in her castle. Yeah, I felt really happy with that. So they're most of the dresses that I tried on and didn't choose. I do have a couple more that I want to show you now, and these are dresses that were close runners up in the first bridal boutique. So I tried on this gorgeous halter neck dress. Now it's a bit big on me, so if you imagine it's more like fitted than the sample that I tried on, but this dress was gorgeous and I absolutely loved it. So this was probably like the second choice for me, and the reason why I didn't go with this one was because it was so unbelievably heavy. Like the weight of this dress, I was exhausted just standing in it for 10 minutes. I thought, how am I going to do an entire wedding day in this dress? And having been through my wedding day now, I am so glad I didn't go with that one, because the one I went with, while it was a ball gown, it was still quite light feeling, and even in that one I was struggling towards the end of the day. It's a lot of dress to haul around, and yeah, this one was just so heavy, so unbelievably heavy. So that was why I didn't go with this one, and also it was more expensive than the other one. So again, price is of course a factor. And then there was this dress that I quite liked as well. Again, it wasn't quite right with the top bit, but this was the dress that started to give me the idea of maybe I like this kind of more plain, clean satin look. So yeah, this dress we're getting there, but we're not quite there. But I did like this dress though. I thought it was really pretty. So on to the next most popular section of the wedding, which was definitely food. So someone asked, what food did we have? So I'm going to put up a photo of our food menu. For starter, we had heirloom tomato salad or free-range chicken, portobello mushroom and leek terrine. I'm vegetarian, so I only sampled the heirloom tomato salad, but it was absolutely delicious. They had all these different tomatoes sitting on a slice of watermelon. It was so good. And then this really fresh mozzarella and stuff. And Frederick said that the chicken terrine was really, really nice. So we went with 2 cold dishes for a start. And then we had a soup after that, so something warm after it. And we went for pan roasted butternut squash and black truffle soup. Now, when I tell you that this is the best soup I have ever eaten in my life, I am not joking. Both Frederick and I agree it was the best thing on our menu. I never knew that soup could taste this good. I was telling everyone about the soup in advance and they were all laughing going, yeah, okay, soup is soup. No, soup is not soup until you've tried this soup. And in fact, after we had the soup, so many people came up to me after and said, oh my God, that soup was so good. And I was like, I know, right? That was good soup. It was the best soup ever. I cannot stress this enough. That was our favorite dish, was the butternut squash and black truffle soup with the freshly warm baked bread rolls. We got married in October. It was an autumn wedding. It was a little bit chilly. Oh my God, that soup was just perfectly divine. I cannot emphasize that enough. Then for the mains, we had a vegetarian option, which was marinated tofu, which was so good. Oh my God, it was so good. I love tofu. It was so nice. And then the other 2 dishes we had were roast strip loin of Irish beef and roast fillet of Atlantic halibut. Frederick had the halibut and said it was absolutely delicious. He said it was the best fish he's ever had, and I heard from other people that the beef was very nice as well. Then the dessert. Oh my God, the dessert was amazing. It was caramelized white chocolate and coconut cheesecake. One of the best cheesecakes I've ever had. In fact, a couple of people who don't eat cheesecake and said they don't like cheesecake tried it, loved it, and ate it. It was so good. I cannot stress to you enough how good this food was. And then of course we had like tea and coffee and drinks and wine and stuff as well. We were absolutely thrilled with the food at our wedding. We of course had canapes and drinks at the drinks reception as well, and then we had some finger food in the evening, pork sliders and spring rolls and stuff like that. That was all lovely as well. Someone else asked what cake did we get. I asked what did it look like, how was it. So we got a very, very small cake because we only had 45 guests at our wedding. This was our cake. I just wanted it to look very plain, very simple as well. People did ask me what was the theme of our wedding, and honestly, the theme was just, I don't even know if this counts as a theme, but it was just simple, elegant, classic wedding was kind of the theme. I'm not really sure, but that's kind of what I was going for, and that's really the style that Frederick likes as well. Frederick likes classic, simple looking things. He's a minimalist. That's just what he's into as well. So that's really what we both wanted for the wedding. I just wanted a plain white cake, and I wanted 3 tiers so it looked like a wedding cake, but I didn't want to get like a big cake because wedding cakes are expensive, right? They're really expensive, and I didn't want to get a really big cake when we didn't have a load of guests and it wouldn't all get eaten. Our cake maker, she was amazing. She basically made us like this teeny tiny mini wedding cake, and it was so perfect. It was so beautiful. She did each tier a different design and tasted amazing. So we had 2 layers that were Bailey's sponge cake, which was absolutely divine. I can't think of another word to describe this cake. And then the 3rd layer, we had a toffee caramel sponge, which was really, really nice as well, but the Bailey sponge was where it was at. We had our cake cut up and served during the party later with the finger food, and it was all gone. People were eating it, people were really enjoying the cake, and that made us really happy. And I actually bought a load of little cake boxes so people could take pieces home with them or up to their rooms, and I actually filled up a bunch of cake boxes for Frederick and I, and we took those up to our room that evening. And well, Frederick fell asleep, but I was sitting in bed just eating the cake and just going, damn, that's good cake. Yeah, that's a really good tip actually for your wedding. Get little cake boxes and put them beside the cake so people can take slices with them, because they mightn't want to eat it then, but having cake when you get home or having cake the next day is really, really lovely. I had mentioned previously that we had an Aragorn and Arwen element to our wedding. We both love Lord of the Rings. I've been a huge fan of Lord of the Rings since I was, I don't know, 6 or 7 or something. So I had ordered a cake topper for our cake. This was before we even ordered our cake. I got this cake topper made with Aragorn and Arwen on it, and then I got our initials in a heart, and then it has Arwen's quote on it: "I would rather share one lifetime with you than face all the ages of this world alone." So yeah, I got this to be the cake topper for our cake. And then unfortunately, when we actually ordered our cake and realized, you know, it was going to be very, very small, the cake topper was too big to go on our cake. So I had to order a second smaller one, which I really liked as well. It was in this pose that was really special to us because Frederick so often kisses me on the forehead, and I just thought it was really cute. It reminded me of us. But yeah, I still wanted to, of course, display the Aragorn and Arwen cake topper. So with the help of my sister, we made these kind of little stands and, you know, decorated them with flowers and stuff. We displayed those beside the cake as well. And I think it looked really nice. I think the cake table looked really, really amazing. I loved it. Then someone asked what kind of flowers did we have. The cheapest they had. Our wedding color was dusty blue. I wanted a very pale color. Again, nothing too bold or over the top. I was choosing between dusty blue and blush pink, and Frederick was like, "Can we please have dusty blue and not pink?" And I was like, sure. Dusty blue, white and gold were kind of the color scheme that I tried my best to stick within. I was kind of only really specific for the bouquets, for my bouquet and the 2 bridesmaids ones. So for those, I just wanted them very clean, very neat, not a lot of greenery in them. I just wanted mine to be white roses, and then for the bridesmaids I just wanted little bits of some kind of blue flower in those. We settled on blue hydrangea because they were in season then as well, which makes them cheaper too. And then for all the other flowers, like our flower arch, altar arrangement, pew ends, things like that, I just kind of said as long as they're white or light blue. I didn't really mind what flowers were used, and the florist did such an amazing job. Oh my god, the flowers looked beautiful. They were so stunning. Then I had a question about music. So someone asked, did we have a band? Controversial, maybe, but we did not have a band. Because we were having such a small wedding, we kind of just thought it would be a waste paying all that money for a wedding band for maybe 15 people at most on the dance floor. And then, I don't know, I was just worried it would be really awkward if, you know, the band was going, "Everybody up and sing along," and there was like one person on the dance floor. Yeah, we just decided to go with the DJ, and that worked out so well. He was great. He was great crack altogether. He was so funny, and he got people up. He took requests. He started playing all these Norwegian tunes that I've never heard of before, and the floor was packed for those with all the Norwegians. Then he played, of course, you know, the the classics that they play in Ireland, like Rock the Boat, and we were all on the floor, and all the Norwegians were looking at us like we'd lost our minds because they'd never heard of Rock the Boat, and they were like, why is everyone sitting on the floor? It was brilliant, and it was great fun. And our DJ got really into, we did a plushie toss instead of a toss the bouquet. I didn't want to do a bouquet toss because I personally just felt like it was a bit old-fashioned, and I have a lot of friends who are not interested in getting married. They don't want to get married, and I used to hate it when I would go to weddings as a teenager and in my early 20s and stuff, and it would be that moment of, oh yeah, all the single ladies come up here and try and catch a bouquet, so maybe, you know, someone will marry you. You know, I always honestly found it a little bit offensive, but that's just me. We cut that, and instead we did a plushie toss. So I threw a cat, a pushing, and my fiance threw a little plushie dog, and we basically said that whoever caught those was going to be the next person blessed to adopt a cat or adopt a dog, and everyone was involved for both, and it was great fun. Everyone was pushing each other, trying to catch the plushie and stuff. The DJ, he really got into that, and he was like, oh my god, who's going to catch the cat and stuff. Then people asked about our first dance. So what was our first dance song? Our first dance was actually to an unreleased Evanescence song. Every time I have said that to someone, I have gotten a huh? It's a song called Anywhere, and it's a beautiful love song about basically running away and just being alone with the person you love, away from everyone and everything else, away from everything negative. I just really, really like the song, and when I played it for Frederick, he loved it too. So we decided that was going to be our first dance song. We actually took dance lessons and learned a little choreographed dance routine, which was super fun. We learned how to do a dip. That was really, really fun. And again, the DJ was awesome with that. Because it was an unreleased song, I had to basically download the file from YouTube and send it to them, and then he had to upload that file specially to his sound system and stuff. But he was so great with that. Yeah, as you can tell, I loved our DJ. Greg was the best. And then someone did ask if we had anything Tomb Raider themed at our wedding. We actually did, but it was a complete surprise to me. When we had our first meeting with our photographers and we were going through everything and going through the day, we were chit-chatting and it came up, I have a YouTube channel. And it turned out that he's a mad gamer. And he asked, oh, what do you play? And I said, well, a lot of Tomb Raider and horror. And he said, oh, well, I'm not into horror, but I'm a big Tomb Raider fan. So then he started following me on YouTube. So then he had this thing where every time he saw me or talked to me after that, he'd just go, oh, hi, Lara Croft. After our first dance and everything, the photographers were organising for everyone to be on the dance floor and take a big group photo, which I'm not going to show you because I don't want to show like other people that were at our wedding that, you know, mightn't want to be on YouTube or whatever. But yeah, we were taking this big group photo with everyone. And as he was organising everyone to get ready, the next minute I just hear the Tomb Raider theme tune start playing. And I was like, oh my God. I was so shocked. I couldn't believe it. So our photographer had organised with the DJ that the Tomb Raider 1 theme song would play as a surprise when we were doing the group photo. I couldn't believe it. I was so happy, so shocked. 99% of the guests didn't have a clue what it was. There was one guest who was a bit of a gamer who was like, oh my God, is that Tomb Raider? And I was like, yes, it is. So yeah, thanks to my photographer, the lovely Mark, we had the Tomb Raider 1 theme tune. it was even more amazing that it was a surprise, and a surprise that our photographer organized. Okay, so let's move on to the day itself. So someone asked, was I nervous on the day? Yes. Yes, I was. I could barely breathe. I was so nervous. I wasn't nervous about getting married at all, but I was just really nervous, wondering, is everything going to go okay? Is there going to be any problems? Did I forget anything? Did I organize everything? So absolutely, I was nervous. And then also you've got the thought of, I have to walk down the aisle and not trip, and everyone's going to be staring at me. Like, that makes you nervous as well. Then someone asked, who was more nervous, me or Frederick? I think Frederick was, and that is for the simple reason that, right, he has to stand there at the top of the aisle and wait. He said that was really nerve-wracking, just standing there and, you know, everyone's seated and again staring at him, and he's just standing there waiting and thinking, oh God, when's she going to come in and stuff. So yeah, I do think that part of the wedding is very nerve-wracking for the groom. Someone asked, did I do old, new, borrowed and blue? I did. I went one step further. I did old, new, borrowed and blue, and a sixpence in your shoe. Although I didn't put the sixpence in my shoe. That's the old rhyme for good luck on your wedding day. I got a bit creative with mine. So for something old, I was wearing my great aunt's ring. She was such an independent, elegant career woman and stuff. So I always really admired her. So that to me kind of represented all of my old life and old hopes and dreams and stuff like that. For something new, I chose my wedding ring would be that, and that would symbolize my new life and all of my hopes and dreams for the future. For something borrowed, I actually had our venue be that in a way, because we didn't actually realize when we first booked it. When I told my parents that we had booked that as our wedding venue, they said, oh my God, that was our wedding venue. I had no idea. I had completely forgotten where they had their wedding reception. So it was such a coincidence. I kind of thought of the wedding venue as being kind of borrowed from my parents in a way. Then something blue, well, I mean, our theme was dusty blue. So, you know, my bridesmaids were blue. Lots of stuff around me was blue. So yeah, that was kind of sorted with that. And then I had an old Irish sixpence that I put in my handbag for the day just to bring me luck. So for anyone who doesn't know, before Ireland switched to the euro, we had Irish pounds and Irish pence. So yeah, I had an old Irish sixpence coin that I carried around with me just for extra good luck as well. Someone asked, could all of our friends and family make it? We were very lucky that 99% of them could make it. There was one or two of Frederick's family members that couldn't, unfortunately. Everyone else we invited could make it. That's the nice thing about having a very small guest list. So did anyone cry with happiness on the day? Definitely both of us. Frederick, as soon as he saw me walking down the aisle, he just burst into tears, and then he got me going and I was crying, he was crying, everyone was crying. And then someone asked this question, I love this, was there any Irish traditions that we had in the wedding? So we actually had two that I'm going to tell you about. So first of all, it is a, I guess, superstition in Ireland that most people do, where there's these religious statues called the Child of Prague statues, and basically every Irish household has one of these Child of Prague statues. And the superstition and tradition is that you put it outside in your garden the night before your wedding, and that means that you won't have rain on your wedding day. You'll have nice weather. So my mother put the Child of Prague out in her garden for me. I'll put some pictures of it up there for anyone wondering what the hell I'm talking about. So yes, this is a very sacred Irish tradition. child of Prague needs to go outside so you can have good weather on your wedding day. Oops, I kicked my camera, sorry. We did that, and to be fair, it half worked. So we had rain all morning. Our wedding started at 2 p.m. We had rain all morning while I was getting ready and stuff, but just as our ceremony was starting, the rain stopped and there wasn't rain for the rest of the day, so we got to go to the park and take our photos. We got some gorgeous photos. The bottom of my dress got absolutely destroyed with mud, but it worked out, and I think the child of Prague did his job. He did a decent job. And then the second Irish tradition that we had in our wedding was, I felt very strongly that I wanted the ancient Irish Celtic tradition of hand fasting. So basically it's where they wrap the cord around your hands, give you your marriage, your wedding blessing, then they tie it, and that's where the term tying the knot comes from. It comes from this ancient Celtic ceremony, and then you keep the knot forever. It felt very special to me, a huge connection to my heritage. Yeah, that was just a really, really, really special and meaningful tradition that we had there as well. And we just had a question about children at the wedding. So someone asked me about what I think of child-free weddings. I think child-free weddings are completely fine, and it is your decision. It's your day. You're paying for it. If you don't want to invite children, that is totally fine. We had a child-free wedding. Now, not a lot of our friends and family have small children. One of my friends actually has a grown-up child who's 20, so we invited her. But a couple of my friends did have small children, and we just very politely said that we are having a child-free wedding and we would love for them to come, and we hope to see them there. And honestly, I don't see anything wrong with that. I would not be offended at all if I had a child and somebody invited me somewhere and said, yeah, we're just inviting you. I'd be like, okay, fair enough. I either find someone to mind my child or I don't. And you did ask about, is it fair to ask people to travel without their kids? My friend did travel without her children. She didn't have a problem with it. The only thing I would say with that is, do be prepared, and I was prepared when I invited my friend, that they mightn't come. And you just have to be okay with that. It's understandable that, you know, people say, oh, I can't find anyone to mind the kids. I can't come if I can't bring them with me. That's just something you'd have to be prepared for. But once you're okay with that, then I think it's totally fine to invite people and say to them, just you, not your children. Sorry. I know it's a really touchy subject and some people get really upset and offended over it, but I personally do not see an issue. So now this is kind of just the brief reflection portion of the video. So someone asked, did it all go to plan? Yes, I can't believe that I get to say that nothing went wrong on the day. There was one tiny thing that went wrong, and this was it. We had bought a beautiful bouquet of flowers to give to our celebrant after the ceremony to say thank you, and we couldn't find them. Someone had placed them somewhere and we could not find where the flowers were, so we didn't get to give her flowers. That was the only thing that went wrong on the day. Did the wedding live up to our expectations? It exceeded my expectations, honestly. It was just an amazing, perfect day. It felt so warm and loving, and yeah, it was just so lovely. Someone asked what was my favorite and least favorite part of the wedding. My least favorite part of the wedding was getting ready in the morning. Honestly, that's when all the nerves were there. That felt stressful. That's when I kept like going over my lists over and over again to make sure I remembered everything. That's when I was stressed, like, oh my god, how's my hair gonna turn out? Are the flowers going to get here? All of this was going through my head. So That was definitely my least favorite part of the day. I was so happy once the ceremony started and the day kind of started. My favorite part of the day was when we left our wedding. We left our wedding around 11 p.m. I think, and we just went up to our hotel room, and just that moment of closing the door, everything's quiet, everything's calm, and we both just looked at each other and we're like, we did it, we're married. And it was just such a happy feeling. Yeah, we just got to hang out together and actually really feel and enjoy for the first time that, you know, oh my God, we're married now. That was really, really nice. Someone asked, how happy was I on a scale of 1 to 10? 11. 11. How were we feeling the next day? Just happy and relieved. So happy it went so well, relieved that it went so well and all the stress and planning was over. We didn't get much time to relax though in the morning, because then we had to start cleaning up the bridal suite and we had to get a big trolley and move everything from Wedding Mountain back down to our car and stuff like that. So yeah, there wasn't much time to relax and bask in it, but definitely just felt happy and like a weight was lifted as well. Someone asked, where did we go on honeymoon? Now that you've seen my Copenhagen vlog, you know our kind of main honeymoon was Copenhagen, but a couple of days after the wedding we did go for a kind of mini honeymoon to Killashee Spa Hotel, which is in Kildare in Ireland. It's so beautiful there. We spent a few days there just chilling out, eating a lot of food. We went to the spa there, had spa treatments, swam in the thermal pool. It was so lovely, so relaxing, and we played a load of games. We like solved a Nancy Drew mystery and played this Pokemon maze game that I bought for Frederick. Yeah, we just basically chilled out there and completely relaxed and had so much fun. And the last question, would we do it again? Yes and no. If you're asking if I was to go back in time, would I do the wedding again? Yes, absolutely. It was worth all of the work and planning and everything. It was an amazing day. I'm so happy now to be married and have all of those beautiful memories. Absolutely, I would do it again. If you're asking if now, would I do it again? Like, would I want to have a wedding again, having already had one? No, absolutely not. I've been saying to everyone, that's it. I'm one and done now. I am never having a wedding again. One was enough. If I'm ever getting married again for some reason, hopefully not, touch wood, but if I am just going to the registry office. No, never again would I do a big wedding. Once was enough, but doing it the once was absolutely worth it, and it was so, so lovely. So yeah, I think that is most of the questions. I hope I got to everything, or at least most things that you guys wanted to know. I hope that video was helpful as well, because I know some of you are planning weddings at the moment or thinking about getting married. It just feels so nice to finally be able to actually share everything with you guys, because I've said it before, but I'm a big believer in you don't talk about things before they've happened. Like, you'll jinx it or something. So yeah, I'm always way too scared to talk about things or share details on things before they've happened. So I was keeping so much to myself for so long. It feels so great now to be able to just talk about it and share all this with you. And yeah, just reflect on the really nice day and have a bit of fun as well sharing with it. That was really fun, especially showing you like all the dresses and stuff. And yeah, do let me know in the comments down below, what did you think of the dresses, the dress that I picked, the ones that I didn't, all of that. I'm so interested to know. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys really, really soon in a gaming playthrough, what I usually do.